Rootabaga Stories. So here we had new chapter. 3 stories about the Buckskin Whincher people. Blixie Bimber, Peter Potato Blossom Wishes, Jimmy the Flea, Silax Bugsby, Fritz Exenbex, James Sixbydix. Jackson Swift, the cistern cleaner, Rex Habakkuk, the ragman, 2 daughters of the ragman, 2 blue reds, a circus man with spot cash, a moving picture actor, a taxi cab driver. So, our new story will be the story of Blixie Bimber and the power of the Buckskin Whincher. Blixie Bimber grew up looking for luck. If she would find a horseshoe, she took it home and put it on the wall of her room with a ribbon tied to it. She would look at the moon through her fingers, under her arms, over her right shoulder, but never over her left shoulder. She listened and picked up everything anybody said about the groundhog and whether that anybody said about the groundhog. Saw his shadow when he came out the 2nd of February. If she dreamed of onions, she knew the next day she would find a silver spoon. If she dreamed of wishes, she knew the next day she would meet a strange man who would call her by her first name. She grew up looking for luck. She was 16 years old and quite a girl, with her skirts down to her shoe tops when something happened. She was going to the post office to see if there was a letter from her from Peter Potato Blossom Wishes, her best chum, or a letter from Jimmy the Flea, her best friend, and she kept steady company with him. Jimmy the Flea was a climber. He climbed skyscrapers and flagpoles on smokestacks and is famous steeplejack. Blixie Bimber liked him because he was the steeplejack a little, but more because he was a whistler. Every time Blixie said to Jimmy, "I'll get the blues. Whistle the blues after me." Jimmy would just naturally whistle till the blues just naturally went away from Blixie. One way to the post office, Blixie found a Buckskin Whincher. There it lay in the middle of the sidewalk. How and why it came to her, she never knew, and nobody ever told her. "It's luck," she said to herself, and she picked it up quick. And so she took it home and fixed it on the little chain and wore it around her neck. She didn't know that nobody ever told her a Buckskin Whincher is different from just a plain common whincher. It has a power. And if a thing has the power, you just naturally can't help yourself. So, around her neck, fixed in a little chain, Blixie Bimber wore the Buckskin Whincher and never knew it has a power. And all the time, the power was working. The first man you meet with an X in his name, you must fall head over heels in love with him, said the silent power in the Buckskin Whincher. And that's why Blixie Bimber stopped at the post office and went back again, asking the clerk at the post office window if she was sure there wasn't a letter for her. The name of her clerk was Silax Bugsby. For 6 weeks, he kept steady company with Blixie Bimber. They went to dances, hayrick rides, picnics, and hijinks together. All the time, the power in the Buckskin Whincher was working. It was hanging by a little chain around her neck and always working. It was saying, "The next man you with a 2X in his name, you must leave all and follow head over heels in love with him." She met the high school principal. His name was Fritz Exenbex. Blixie stopped her eyes before him and threw smiles at him. And for weeks, he kept company with Blixie Bimber. They went to dances, hayrick rides, picnics, and hijinks together. "Why do you go with him for steady company?" her relatives asked. "It has a power he's got," Blixie answered. "I just can't help it. It's a power. One of his feet is bigger than the other. How can you steady company with him?" They asked again. All she would answer was, "It's a power." All the time, of course, the Buckskin Whincher on the little chain around her neck was working. It was saying, if she meets a man with 3 X's in his name, she must fall head over heels in love with him. At a band concert in the public square one night, she made James Sixbydix. There was no helping it. She dropped her eyes and threw her smiles at him. And for 6 weeks, they kept steady company going to band concerts, dances, hayrick rides, picnics, and hijinks together. "Why do you keep steady company with him? He's a musical soup eater," her relatives said to her, and she answered, "It's a power. I can't help myself." Leaning down with her head in a rainwater this determined day, listening to the echoes against the strange wooden falls of the cistern, the Buckskin Whincher, one little chain around her neck, slipped off and fell down into the rainwater. "My luck is gone," said Blixie. Then she went into the house and made 2 telephone calls. One was to James Sixbedix, telling him she couldn't keep the day with him that night. The other was to Jimmy the Flea, the climber, the steeplejack. "Come on over, I got the blues and I want you to whistle them away," was what she phoned Jimmy the Flea. And so, if you ever come across the Buckskin Whincher, be careful. It's got a power. It'll make you fall head over heels in love with the next man you meet with an X with his name. Or it will do other strange things before different Whinchers had different powers.